Absolutely, man. What's going on, you guys? You know what time it is. Welcome back to the corner. It's your boy. Y'all know me, the Mayor of Loop City, Tamar Jackson, leader of Pierce County Community Engaged Tours, and the Senior Director of Community Engagement. But of course, I cannot do this by myself. So I had to bring C-Dub with me, my amazing co-host, but I'll let her introduce herself later. Y'all know what it is. When we come on here, it's authentic. It's what we do. And always remember, when you talk about communities, we can never forget the community or the corners that actually keep us together. This is our corner. We want to welcome you guys to it. I'm going to let C-Dub introduce herself, and then we're going to go ahead and talk to these amazing guests that we got online too. Let's get it going.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chloe Wilhelm. I'm a program assistant at Workforce Central and pretty much help with everything relating to workforce services. I also help a lot with strategy through the task force and then the co-lead of that. I'm really excited to have Boulder Care here with us today. They're doing amazing work, and I'm just going to pass it over to Marshall and Ronnie. Please introduce yourselves. We want to hear more about you. What are you working on?
Well, Marshall, you want to go first?
No, you go ahead, Ronnie.
Okay, thank you. Well, first of all, it's an honor to be here today. And my name is Ronnie Brown. I'm a peer coach here at Boulder and also involved with the outreach process here. I'm just honored to be here because actually my journey brought me here. It started 22 years ago when I entered into a program called Teen Challenge. And as I went through that process, it took a year long for me to turn things around in my life because I was in heavy addiction. And I came back to Washington State, not the same guy that left for that year, and did quite well with my family, put my kids through college, became a better father, a better son, and now I'm a great husband, according to my wife. But yeah, it's good stuff, good stuff. And as I entered in this lately in this late season, I came to Boulder by way of PTSD. I suffered some PTSD back in 2019. And what occurred is I found 2 deceased people within a two-week span in Tacoma on a hilltop. And one young man was just recently shot in the head. The other one was a drug overdose. And it hit me, it put me into a frenzy, and I became real sick and pretty much had a stroke one night. And I was visited by some folks, not wanting to get help because I came from that culture where you live with it. But it took its toll on me. And eventually I went in to get some services, some local services here, and it worked out for me. And then I came to the tiny house village, which is now growing all over our city right now, ran by an organization called Lehigh. And within that time frame, with the support that I got, I was able to come back into this field, and now I'm giving away what I got. I'm actually one of the poster childs for Lehigh. We always demonstrate what they could do to help people get their lives turned around. And in fact, I'm here at one of the facilities today, a hotel right here on Hausma that houses over 120 people. And I just gave a presentation of a testimony of what they did for me. And we're getting folks on board here on the Boulder program because we found that recovery, you can't housing unless you get recovery, because your housing might last you 5 minutes or so. So my colleagues, Marshall and the rest of the team, we're really getting into the community. We believe in allies. And in fact, it was Kelly Blucher that brought me here, that gave me the green light, say, hey, Ronnie, we got this great group. You need to come join us. And I met Tamar, and I says, we did a couple of events together, and it's making a huge difference in the community. So I'm just, again, I'm glad to be a part of it. That's how I got here. I'm looking for the future. Thank you.
Man, I love it. I love it, Ronnie, man. I didn't know a lot of that story. I'm really excited that we actually get online today to really talk about some of those things and, where it has brought you. And, we've got to sit and have good times at different events and just being who we were authentically. And I love that. I know that you came online as well, Marshall, man. I know you're new to this. When we first reached out, you were like, oh man, I don't know if I'm the one for it. I don't know. But I had a great conversation with you. So at that point, I said, no, you are the one. I'm gonna pick on you and make sure that you are here. So Marshall, hey, introduce yourself. Let us know why you do this work. And man, let's go.
Tamara, Chloe, I appreciate the opportunity to be here. I joined the partnerships team at Boulder Care just over a month ago. So I am new to Boulder Care, but I'm certainly not new to providing behavioral health services, specifically in Pierce County. I've been in recovery coming up on 10 years. I moved to Tacoma 8 years ago. And in that time, I've really grown to not only love the community, but determined that my calling was in the behavioral health space as part of the recovery community, not really being sure what I wanted to do professionally. I made the decision to become a substance use disorder professional and as well as a mental health professional. And I spent quite a few years providing direct services across quite a few agencies in Washington, including Pierce County Alliance and also most recently at Coordinated Care, one of the Medicaid companies. And I made the decision to transition to Boulder Care just because of really the mission and the way that the organization is set up. I have not yet seen a provider that is able to assist people in such a low barrier, technological, innovative way. It's amazing that people can receive such needed services from home without needing to be transported anywhere, without needing to be early for an appointment, without needing to leave their kids or not show up to work. And in my experience, for folks that have substance use disorders, it's just so needed to be able to engage in services in that low barrier way. And not to mention working with people like Ronnie and others across Boulder Care who are so committed and passionate about helping this population. And, being part of that population myself, I'm able to put myself in the shoes and be like, what would have worked for me 10 years ago when I was struggling to find my way? And Boulder does that. And people like Ronnie who are on the ground meeting with folks, motivating people, helping people achieve aspirations. I mean, that's what gives me purpose. And I spend the majority of my waking hours working. So why not do something that I love and that I care about for the greater good? So I'm super glad to be here.
Man, I'm gonna have a good time today. Like just listening to where you guys come from. I'm so honored that you guys are here because I've had conversations with both of you and you guys have something a little different for this community that shares why collaboration is so important. But I want to back away because I know Chloe, she's looking at the screen right now and I'm sure she has something to ask. So I'm gonna let her do her thing. I'm gonna step away for it, but I'm coming back at you. So be ready.
Well, thanks, Tamar. And yeah, it's wonderful to have you guys here. And Marsha, you mentioned helping eliminate some of those barriers to people accessing those services. And I do want to ask about what that looks like in a virtual space. I know for me, I love having that virtual option of being able to work from home. I'm sure that for people looking for services who need that extra help, it really does open those doors more. So I'd love to hear about what you guys are working on in that virtual space, what it looks like for people who are coming to receive those services, and just what would it look like if someone were to come in and say, I need help, I can't be there in person.
Ronnie, why don't you go ahead and take this since you are the one on the ground enrolling folks in Tacoma?
What I love about this coming from the brick and mortar, because several years ago, in fact, it was 2000, I want to say 14, we opened up the very first recovery cafe center in Tacoma, and it was located on Tacoma Avenue. And in the first year, we engaged with over 10,000 people in addiction. And it was quite a task because in this industry, we find ourselves being understaffed. And because we're understaffed, a lot of the peers and folks that were involved get burnt out quick. You find yourself, self-care was really important. In the telemedicine, it's a little different. We get to work from home in areas that are remote. And just on the personal side, it's nice to know your kitchen's around the corner. But there comes a point in time when people used to line up in front of my door, and it made quite a circus at times. Well, in any event, the way the virtual effect works is, especially when it comes to our patients, they make their visits when it's good for them. So with that said, we could visit with a person in the gym, in the tent, in the backyard, anywhere that, we meet them where they're at. And it's always nice to see their environment. And it's, as Marshall said, it's private. We find that, and I learned this over the last 3.5 years I've been here, it seems as though people open up more. There's more of an opening for them for us to be able to go on this journey of support. Where before they come in and they see a desk, an office-like atmosphere. There's a counter sometimes, a check-in, where now it's a little different. And because of that, I believe our numbers are greater as far as our success. Because of that, because of the intimacy. There's more intimacy with anyone. And as you know, anyone suffering with addiction, they have most of my patients have issues, what we call trust issues. And because I believe telemedicine and the virtual effect kind of opens that door up to make it a much more faster way for someone to engage and let their hair down. Because I was told that most of the time when people are not being truthful is because they don't trust us with the truth yet. And we use that a lot, and we find that there's a great gain of trust. And once you have trust, then you can take someone on a journey to recovery.
Yeah, I mean,
oh, go ahead.
I was just going to say telehealth is the future. And I think that future was realized a little bit sooner than expected because of COVID. And that's not to discount the benefit that in-person healthcare, and the place that in-person healthcare has, because there absolutely is a place for it. And for a lot of individuals, being provided in-person services makes a lot more sense for them. But for others, as Ronnie mentioned, whether they're at home or in the car or at the gym, wherever they are, no matter where they are, they can go to a private place and they're able to engage in services with somebody that's part of the Boulder Care team, whether it's a peer like Ronnie or a prescriber or a care advocate, case manager, whoever it is. And another really amazing component to the array of services that Boulder provides is there's no limit to the number of sessions that you can have, whether it's via secure text messaging or video sessions. It's not like the normal behavioral health system and the way that it's set up, where you schedule an appointment, you attend the appointment, and then you schedule another appointment a week later or a month later or 3 weeks later, or you attend these groups. It's constantly in your hand. I'm struggling today. Ronnie's my peer. I'm going to pull out my phone and I'm going to text Ronnie because I'm having a tough time and I need to connect to somebody. And also keeping in mind that so many of these people, and I remember back with my own history prior to being comfortable developing a community of recovery, a lot of these folks haven't yet hit their stride in developing that sober support network. So for a lot of these individuals, their care team and their peers like Ronnie, that is their support system. And that support system helps motivate people to get out of their comfort zone and maybe engage in recovery cafe or 12-step meetings or other forms of sober support, faith-based, whatever it may be. But at least initially, it's not uncommon for the only person that's really listening to them, the only person that truly trusts them, as Ronnie said, is their care team, is their peer coach.
When you go, a couple of things that really stuck out to me, let's go back to 2020 when all of this really started to happen, when the world shut. Excuse my, he gets mad at me at times. But when we're looking at telehealth. We're looking at when the world shut down, when our organization's missions looked a little different. We knew where we were trying to go, but it looked different. When we start talking about DEAI and what those things look like, something really stuck out to me. And I would love for you to dive into it a little bit more as far as in what do you guys see as some of the most important components on the clients of Pierce County finding and being okay with taking their journey into their own recovery. As you said earlier, Marshall, you were talking about a network and people not being able to have that network right there. But what are some steps that you have to take, you know, with especially both of you having that lived experience, bringing it to the table? What does that look like when we talk about your own journey and that it's okay because Boulder is there because they've experienced those journeys and they want to make it to where you're not having to navigate a system. They're going to show you how to navigate that system. And we're going to continue to take this journey together.
Mhm. Well, there's so many different avenues, Tamar. And just the fact that our enrollment process is so easy, you know, from to get to point A with Boulder is a simple process. They're invited to do it online. It could be a phone call. It's painless. So when that cry goes out for help, we because we are obviously on the internet, so we've had a lot of people come through by way of the internet through just initial phone contact. And the process takes about 10 minutes over the phone. Once that happens, the next step is they get a virtual meet with their clinician. And that clinician goes through the history of, you know, what would be the best prescribed medication for that particular individual. And then the peer comes along. Now that peer, this is the key, has lived experiences. And they meet that person where they are. And then they begin to develop this plan, this journey, I may call it. And that's a journey that belongs to that individual. You know, in other words, it's their plan. And what we do is we are what we call resource brokers. And we provide the best resources, I call it, on the planet. And it's a fun journey. It really is. You could look at that patient on the screen, and you could see them light up. You could see all the things. An example, I give you an example of a gentleman that I really remember so well. This young man came from Grants Pass, Oregon. He drove a Sanford and Son truck from all the way from Oregon to Tacoma. Why? Because of the resources that we have here. He drove it. His vehicle broke down in front of the place where we were going to get him into his housing. Within 9 months, this young man had hepatitis C. He had behavioral issues. He had a fentanyl history that was, I mean, pretty heavy. Within 9 months, due to what we call wraparound services and what the engagement of his peer and Boulder and all of, because we believe it takes a village to do this. Within 9 months, this young man got all the help, the medical care he needed for his hep. He was able to stabilize his addiction. 2 months ago, I had a phone call from him, totally different person that came. Excitement, his physical presence changed as far as the way he looked. He gained weight. He said, Ronnie, guess what? So what? I'm moving into my own place and I'm starting a new business. I said, what? A new business? Get out of here. And this is what we do. This is what it's all about. But Boulder is in having relationships with other agencies. We actually help people not only come out of their bondages, but we produce legacies. And that's what's key right now. One person's life gets turned around. That means this is going to come down to their kids and the people they're connected to. So that's the beauty part of what telemedicine and the virtual effect does. And we do this every day. We have testimonies every single day. of people's lives getting turned around. And it is a beautiful thing to see.
And I mean, everybody's recovery is so entirely different. And because of that, the treatment needs to be different. Recovery is individualized, and addiction treatment also needs to be individualized. And there's so many different routes to recovery, whether it's abstinence or harm reduction or whatever it may be. And then there's a variety of different communities that people can engage in to support them as they move through their recovery journey. With Boulder, the component that continues to just show me how much efficacy the Boulder process has is that there's no one size fits all approach. Every individual is different. Every individual can engage in services different. As I mentioned before, they can attend tons and tons of sessions monthly, or they can attend less depending on what their individual need is. And we meet the individual where they are. And beyond that, there aren't these stringent requirements on Boulder patients as to what they need to do in order to continue in services. We're not kicking people to the curb. We're reevaluating, and we're changing what their treatment looks like and changing the recommendations that we provide. But we're not discharging people because they revert to substance use or have some sort of issue that's going on in their lives. And the reality is, a ton of the individuals that are new enrollees that we see engage in services with Boulder, they were referred to by another Boulder patient, which just goes to show how significant that word of mouth is. And that's big for us. If a patient that we currently have is having such a positive experience in their care that they're willing to tell their brother, sister, mother, friend, son, whatever it may be, a loved one, about who we are, encouraging them to also engage in care, if that's not a testament to what Boulder is and what we stand for and the services that we provide, I don't know what is.
Yeah, and I want to add to what Marshall said too, because something hit me, that we don't punish people when they reuse, because we understand this could be a part of their journey. And personally, I lost track of how many times I reused, and now it's been 22 years. Our process is, first of all, we celebrate the fact that they came forward with it. And the next step is, it's a new day. This is a new day. And they light up. They light up. And it's so intimate in how this works, because back in their elements, whether it could be their wife, their brother, their sister, family can be quite hard when it comes to things of this nature. And we find that we build something up in them in the course of this through our peers. We call it peer power. And through the power of the peer, they're able to get back into their families, get back into their communities, get back to that workplace, and become a better person.
That is just amazing. I mean, that hits hard, just knowing that you're not only serving that individual, but that it has a complete ripple effect based on that support system, based on that network, is just really amazing. It's like that hits you hard. I do want to ask more about what that peer support network looks like, especially with other partnerships you have in the community, about those resources, what's out there, how you connect people with them, because these services are incredibly helpful. Not just that, just changing lives, but also what that commitment and that collaboration looks like throughout the community, and how that's helping people.
Our peers, and I'm not bragging about our Boulder peers, we refer to ourselves as the Marvel characters. Each of us have a superpower. I'm known as the Hulk. I like to smash things. So if any of my patients have a barrier, I'm going to smash it. I'm going to get rid of it. Then we have those intellectual type, and we have such a variety, but each of them have a presence, a power that it's incredible to see this. But we know we have the ability of matching the people up with the right person, the right fit, and that's important. And it's based on what that individual's asking for. So we like Marshall mentioned, not one shoe fits all here. With that said, with those types of folks that we have in our network, each journey is different. And so we go through a process where we have goals, and we have long-term, we have short-term goals, and we find out that first visit is usually finding out what that person wants now. What's the most important thing in your life that you want to gain. Then we sit down with them and we put together a plan, and then we take baby steps as each visit goes. In 2 weeks, 2 months, that patient turns around and looks and says, wow, look what we covered in such a short period of time. Our retention rate is pretty strong too. In other words, we have people that, in fact, I have patients that have been with us since I've been here, and that's 3 years. And we're not drug counselors, so our approach is totally different. A peer is someone, again, with lived experiences that doesn't criticize. We're filled with empathy, not sympathy, empathy. There's a difference. And then once you gain that trust, my goodness, we love to celebrate. We're into our celebration. And as far as the resources, our resources, thank God for the agencies that are coming together through your organization. It's through organizations like yours that are helping us be more intimate with others. We had a good session last couple of weeks ago, and I got to meet some of the folks that I'm referring my patients to, and got to meet the personalities of the individuals. And that's different. When a card and a number doesn't mean anything, but that person, that living, breathing person, means a lot more. And that's why, again, I'm honored to be here. But that's how it works with me. I'm definitely intimate with my resources. I just got to say this name again, Kelly Blucher. We've got history. When I refer people to Kelly, she takes care of business. And that's important too, that when we as peers refer someone, we know that person's in good hands. That's very important. So.
And as an organization, we're constantly pursuing new partnerships, and then amongst our current partnerships, we're looking for ways to partner on pilot programs or whatever it may be that will help members of the community. And really any organization that exists throughout Pierce County specifically, but really the state, of course, we want to, if you are engaging with individuals who have substance use disorders, who you believe would benefit from a service like Boulder, please do not hesitate to reach out. And for our clients, like Ronnie mentioned, we don't provide everything. We don't provide every single service, housing, mental health counseling, whatever it may be. So we understand that we are a part of the recovery machine, of the treatment machine, and we want to connect our patients with other organizations that do really amazing work, so that our patients are afforded all of the different types of care and are able to have their needs met.
See, that's it too. And first off, I'm gonna take 2 times to celebrate. One, I'm gonna celebrate for Kelly because she just does what she does. She can't be here with us, so I'm gonna take the win for her. 2, we actually identify ourselves as Avengers too. So maybe we in the multiverse, and we got different little areas, because right now, you talk about characters. I got the Scarlet Witch online with me right now. We run different, we got the squad with us right now. But, you're talking about leaving legacy. You're talking about, the intention and not really the outcome, but, the impacts of what that legacy could look like. Here's a question, and twofold. One, the quick layout on, if I'm watching you, Tamar Jackson's watching you right now, and I've asked myself, I talk to myself, and we all know those conversations. Am I ready for help? And I said, okay, I'm ready. What is it that I need to know about Boulder? What is the layout? What can I come there to be supported with? But then also, when I say the back end of that question, who are some partners that may not know that you guys are looking out and want to reach and contact them? Who are some partners, maybe like that all-star 5 that may be in the community? You've seen them rocking and doing what they do, and you want to make that connection as well. So again, twofold. The first one, what do I need to know when I come up with a Marshall and a Ronnie saying, Tamar, you said you're ready. This is what we offer you. But then also the shout out to those organizations that you would love to collaborate with to make this web so much bigger than what you guys already have.
That's a deep question there, Tamar. Well, and I'm going to put myself, I'm going to have an out of body experience right now. And I'm going to imagine that this is really happening right now. And the first thing I'm going to bring to the plate is I'm going to congratulate that person for being on the other side of that screen. That's the first thing I do. And the reason being is because there's 10 million other places they can be right now. And that today's the beginning of a new life. And I'll share my testimony with that individual because lived experiences do matter to other folks. And once we do that, now we can travel. Now we can go somewhere. And to them, it's going to be the unknown because oftentimes addiction, no one knows how to live right no more. I mean, these are things that just don't fall from the sky. I call it a learned behavior. And all we do is navigate and help them, I call it redesign their living room. You know, it could be new friends, new places, new things. And these are the gifts that peers share with people. And once they learn, because these are things that maybe their father didn't teach them or their mother didn't teach them. You know, it's not that we're parents, but we offer that language for them and give them the choice of, what do you think? And, well, you know, I like that, Ronnie. Let me try that one, you know, and then we go to the next step. But those are the things that, you know, realistically that we go with. To answer the other question, and I'm working on this today as we speak. And that's a question really that I'm not afraid. I met the chief of police here not too long ago. And I know some of our politicians here. And I'm working with the city as we speak. And a lot of what's going on in our community, we're going to need people in the right places to make a difference too. I mean, we're on the ground. We're on the ground, but we need a little bit support upstairs. And I'm talking about our politicians and some of the people in the higher ups in government, because a lot of what's going on down here right now has been affected by some decision making. And that's where I'm doing outreach presently with. And hopefully I talked to some police officers today because I'm in the battlefield. And if we can get the mayor on the same page and others that, you know, no matter what happens out here, recovery is vital for our community. It really is. And if without that, we have nothing. And we have what we see when we get in our vehicles. We see all of these encampments all over the city, and they're growing. And this is because of what's coming in this community and the effect it's having on our sons and daughters. And also this, just like anything else, has a ripple effect. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's my answer to both questions, brother.
Well, and the stigma is just so real when it comes to not only addiction in general, but the ways in which addiction is treated and what recovery looks like. Things, in a sense, have gotten better over the years with behavioral health stigma. I do believe that more people are prone to engage in services or support services. But part of the reason for that is because of the epidemic and the opioid epidemic that has just touched so many more people. So people are a little bit more willing to see what's right in front of them when they have a kid or a loved one or a friend who has a substance use disorder. But stigma within recovery itself is a really important piece to touch on. within abstinence-based programs, harm reduction is stigmatized. I mean, there's even pharmacies that have taken measures which is ultimately stigmatizing telehealth services, adding more stringent requirements, preventing patients from picking up life-saving medication. And I mentioned, yes, Walmart, as Ronnie said. And I mentioned before that it is low barrier care. And Tamar, I know you asked, well, how do people access services? So I am just going to go ahead real quickly and share my screen. It's simple. Give us a call. We've got folks that are answering the phones that will get individuals enrolled, enrollment specialists who are amazing, and we'll set up appointments very quickly. A referral form can be submitted by a partner agency that's referring an individual to us, or the potential patient themselves can self-enroll by calling, by going to the website, or even by downloading the app. It's a really, really simple process. And for any partner organizations out there, we're very happy to present on what Boulder is, what we do, how to connect members with care. And we're super happy to go down that process. But this is just a little glimpse to show it's a phone call, click of a website, or the download of an app away to get people connected with us. They can do it themselves. A loved one can help them in the process, or the referring partner, whatever organization that may be, can go through this process themselves.
I got some for Chloe. Go ahead and go, because I got something simmering. Go ahead and go, because I got something next. Go ahead.
Oh, well, I'm curious as to how we as a task force, as individuals, as organizations throughout our community, how can we support the work that you do? Because you already do so much. What can we do to help you in your work?
It's getting the word out, connecting us with people who can then get the word out further. I really believe what it comes down to so much is people being aware of what we do, aware that they can engage in services with us, that if they're on Medicaid, there aren't barriers. We can help people go through the process. If having a cell phone or a tablet or a laptop is an issue, we can work with an organization to see if there's a way to work around that while a state-sponsored cell phone is ordered. I mean, for me, we have an amazing team that is working on getting the word out with Boulder, and they have done an absolute exceptional job. But a lot of it really just comes down to people know who we are and what we do.
See, I'm going to tell you right now, first and foremost, Boulder is moving boulders. Okay, don't steal that from me. I'm gonna trademark that. Boulder is moving boulders. What you guys just heard, 100%. There's no judgment. There's no excuse. If you are ready for this change, they are in this community to make this change. They are also new members of our community, and you guys know when you see it, the task force is there. It is trusted. We are here. We have beautiful partners in that organization. Boulder reached out. We've worked with Ronnie. You guys have seen him in the streets too. They are here to help. We're not looking at anybody else in any other way, but how do we impact you for generational sustainability? That's why we are here. That's why we have these conversations, so we can introduce our community back to this community. I love everything that you guys have talked about. Absolutely crazy. You don't got no excuse. You can call, you can text, you can email, you can get on the app, whether you got Google, whether you got iPhone, it don't matter. I'm an iPhone person, so I know my app. But if you an Android person, they ain't hate neither. See, we don't do judgment out here. But before we get out of here, I always got to ask Chloe's thought of the day. I always love leaving with these things. Chloe, what's the thought? What? I'm mind blown. I'm mind blown right now. You know, when the energy kicks in, I got so much to say, but we only got a little bit of time. But what's the thought today? Where are you going to lead the people?
Oh gosh. Well, I feel like I'm just going to second what you guys have already talked about. Do not hesitate to reach out. Boulder Care is doing such amazing work. They can connect you to what you need. Partner organizations out there, please reach out to Boulder. They are just fantastic. I'm blown away by what you guys are doing. I really am. And Ronnie, I hope you don't mind if I steal this from you, but it just stuck with me. Empathy, not sympathy. If I had to simplify it, that's it. So if I had to leave anything, it's just those 3 words.
Empathy, not sympathy. Okay, you guys can go boulders, moving boulders, but we're going to take that from y'all. See, it's not a come and take, it's a give and take. We done gave you something cool and we just snatched something from you guys. That's what's going to happen. We're going to leave it like that. Non-transactional. But hey, you guys know what it is. We love you guys coming out. We love being able to bring the community back to you guys in the most authentic and genuine way that we can. And that's for you guys to get to know them, get to know their stories, but also getting to know their passion and why they do these things. We are all one piece of the puzzle, but if we put that puzzle together the way that it's meant to be, you can see the whole picture. That is what we are creating. That is what we are building. Again, when you talk about community, you talk about engagement of community, never forget the corners that keep those communities together. This is our corner. Boulder, thank you for coming and blessing us with your presence, letting us know what you guys are doing. As always, CW, I can't do this without you. Hey, we'll see you guys on the next episode, man. This is our corner. Welcome to it. We out of here. Let's go.